Dear ladies and gentlemen, this visit once again shows how much responsibility Poland has carried since the beginning of the Russian Federation's attack on Ukraine. More than 95% of all donations, from more than 40 countries that support Ukraine, come through here, through the logistics hub in Rzeszów-Jasionka. This also shows how, in terms of building responsibility for the Polish armed forces, Poland is making a huge effort. How important it is for building, on the one hand, the infrastructure, prestige and security of the Polish nation, and on the other hand, how important it is also in the Allied context, because we are in a place that not only witnesses the living history of the 21st century, but is also a place without which the security of the entire eastern flank of NATO could not be ensured. The defense of Ukraine against the Russian Federation is possible. This, dear friends, is the place without which the system of functioning of NATO's eastern flank could not function at this level. So I express pride as the head of the armed forces in the work of Polish, in the service of Polish officers and Polish soldiers. I hope the Polish government and the parliamentary majority take into account the voice of the Polish president to increase spending on the Polish armed forces to 5% of GDP. In the next years, security issues will merge through via Carpathia, also with infrastructure issues. Let me just remind you that it is in this vertical line of responsibility for security, for infrastructure, for the development of the vertical line between the north and south of Europe that there is an essential place on the map of Europe and an essential place for countries like Poland. Dear all, of course, the soldier base. The logistics base is also equipped with important systems that are also being developed through cooperation with our allies. I had the opportunity to speak with soldiers who operate HIMARS, air defense, POPRAD systems on the one hand, but also sky control systems, which have the ability not only to detect, but also to identify, track and neutralize unmanned aircraft. So here we are in a place that defines Poland's role in the North Atlantic Alliance on the one hand and shows what an important responsible ally the Republic of Poland is.
Mr. President, on the issue of defense of Ukraine and aid to Ukraine from the Polish state, do the President and the government speak with exactly the same voice? Are there perhaps any differences? Is there full agreement here on this particular form and aspects of Ukraine's assistance?
Of course, Mr. Editor, in a strategic sense, helping Ukraine, as demonstrated by my visit today in a strategic sense, Poland's assistance to Ukraine after the Russian Federation attack is part of the Polish state strategy in a strategic sense. So we think alike. In contrast, I consistently demand symmetry in relations between Poland and Ukraine. If we analyze the hundreds of thousands of donations that go in the humanitarian field, in terms of military equipment, ammunition, if we see how great an effort the Polish people have made in helping Ukraine, it does not change. And what is our constant? Strategically, we also hope that President Volodymyr Zelensky, this seems to differ us with the government, will respect this effort of the Poles and will also open to some suggestions of the Polish state and express gratitude to the Polish soldiers, Polish citizens, and the Polish state in the strategic field. Support of Ukraine is, of course, what unites us. In contrast, I have consistently demanded symmetry in relations between Poland and Ukraine, and I hope that President Zelensky will visit me in Warsaw. We will have the opportunity to talk about it, because there are also issues that Poland has to deal with Ukraine.
Mr. President, on September 24th, Prime Minister Donald Tusk said that if Germany does not pay reparations to World War II victims who are still alive to Poles, the Polish government will pay with Polish taxpayer money. Your comment on this statement?
I was very saddened by the words of Prime Minister Donald Tusk. I recall my visit to President Steinmeier and Chancellor Merz, where I said that Poland, as Germany's partner in the European Union, in the North Atlantic Alliance, Poland and the Poles want to seriously address the reparations issue, which my victory in the presidential election also proved. I think that with our partners, and this is, after all, how we treat the Germans, we can also talk about difficult issues that we are supposed to solve. I do not know of such a solution to a historical or political problem, either in terms of decency or historical truth, in which the victims themselves pay for the evils suffered from the occupier and from the invader. So what Prime Minister Donald Tusk said in Berlin bothers me a lot, and I hope that Prime Minister Donald Tusk will apologize to the Poles for these words and say that this is just an expression of some misunderstanding. On the other hand, I, if through the media, can deliver a message to Berlin on behalf of the Polish people, I ask the German Chancellor and President to bend with seriousness to the issue of reparations owed to Poland after the destruction during World War II. I also hope that I can count on the Polish government in my efforts to seek compensation from the German state.